Okay, we are
We
live.
are we live?
Yes, we are. So we wait
Good.
for people.
Okay.
Let me.
Wow. Premiering the conversation.
I played it here. Okay.
Waiting for people to come.
Hello, everyone. If you're already on, we just give time for people to join. Let me see.
Okay. I see someone is here.
Hello, the Musings Forum.
Welcome.
Hi, welcome. Please say hello as you join in. Thank you for joining this conversation. Hi, Martin. And please let us know where you're joining us from so we know. I know Martin is from Malawi. Welcome. We're just going to give a few minutes for people to join in and we will start. Hello, Akinwumi. Thank you for joining us. Or Pupola, I don't know which one's your first name. But thank you for joining us.
I know him.
You know him?
Yes, I do.
Shall I say she knows him?
Yes, I do. Welcome.
Grace
Yay.
from Kenya, but you're in Cape Town. Thank you for joining.
Interesting.
And it's like, what? It's 9 p.m. Well, no. South
Cape
Africa
Town.
is 1 hour
1
ahead
hour
of
ahead
us.
of us.
Okay.
It's like 8 p.m.
So it's Nairobi, that's 2 hours.
Yeah. Welcome, everyone. I see the house is getting full. We would start shortly. Thank you so much for joining, and we are super excited about today's conversation and can't wait to start.
Okay. So do us a favor, please share this with your friends, your colleagues. Hi, Joy. How are you? From Bloom Conversation. Nice. Thank you for joining. Please tag your friends, share the link with them. This is going to be a nice conversation. We don't have tea or coffee, but you can have tea, coffee. Because it's going to be a nice conversation.
It should be. Joy, thank you so much. You are from the Bloom. Woo! My Bloom ladies.
Ah, yes,
Yeah.
the session you had.
Yes,
Nice.
Thanks for joining. Do you let me know when you want us to start?
I think we can start. We're 2 minutes in.
Okay.
Yeah, I think we can start.
All right.
Okay, so hi everyone. Just to check that you can hear us very well. Hi, Tommy. Tommy's all the way in the UK.
Wow.
So you can hear
Welcome.
us well, just let us know in the chat so that we'll not just be talking and nobody's hearing us.
Please let us know when you join so we can say hello to you.
Yes, so Boluwati to say, okay, so we're going to start because tomorrow is Monday and we're supposed to get back to work.
Yeah.
Thank you all for joining and happy World PR Day to every single one of you. It's our day. I hope you actually did something to celebrate and not stay behind your laptop working for your clients.
Blessing, we see you.
Blessing has just released a podcast. Please listen to Point Blank. See, I've done free adverts for her. Okay, so this conversation really is just for us to share our stories. Sometimes you see people that have gone ahead and you're wondering when will we get there, and sometimes it feels like, oh, they just appeared. So we're going to take you behind the scene to our journey. Some of you have read my book. I've shared some of that. Sola is going to share her story, and then we want to take your questions. So in the 1 hour 30 minutes that we have, we hope to take as many questions as possible. You would see the pinned comments. There's a Slido link because as people are chatting, we may miss questions. If you can use that Slido link and you can put your question there, even if we're not able to answer it now, we will answer it. So that allows us to collect all the questions. But we really want to be able to answer as many questions as possible. So, okay, we're back. So World PR Day. Welcome, everyone. We want to start off by those of you that followed me on LinkedIn or on Instagram. You saw the throwback picture. So we thought that, okay, it would be very nice for us to tell you this story of that throwback picture
BTS.
from 2013, literally 10 years ago. So, should I do want to start the story?
No, you
I
can
should start the
start.
story. Let me start the story from my own perspective.
Okay.
Right. So there was a work event that we had to go for. So we both worked at Red Media. For those of you that are not in Nigeria, it's one of the leading PR
Oh, yeah.
agencies, even now. We both worked there. I wasn't working in the PR department. She was. I was in editorial. So they had yniger.com, still have yniger.com, but they had the magazine at the time. Don't have it anymore, but I was focused on the magazine. So usually at the events, I'm the one that goes to, take notes, write the story and all. That fateful morning. Oh God, I suffered that day. Those times I used to jump the bus. For those of you that think I'm too bougie, I used to jump the bus. So the walk to the bus stop was quite a distance. Now it rained heavily on that day. Really, really raining. And then I got to the overhead bridge. Now, depending on what country you are, overhead bridges in Nigeria are not pretty.
Nope.
They are not great. And then there was this puddle of water in front of me. So my mind was calculating that I would just do a, high jump to the step. But what I did not calculate was that my slit was going to tear. And so as I did that high jump, I just said, I said, yay. And so my slit of my skirt tore, made it look like it was a very high slit. But the good saving grace was that I always go out with a pashmina.
That's good.
So I said, okay, I will wrap myself in pashmina and go. Remember, it was raining. So I get to the venue. I'm just a mess. And then I'm just there, trying to pad myself. Shola comes, hi, Adedoyin, please, can you be the moderator of this event? I said, which moderator? Do you know what I've been through? I said, Shola, my skirt has torn.
So the backstory here is that our moderator was running late. I can't remember who this moderator was. I can't remember. Maybe Lamidi. I'm not sure. And we needed to start the event. It was a master class. We had Linda Ikeji or Mojua, a lot of speakers. And I was the coordinator of the event. So I'm like, no, Doyin, come and anchor this event. I know you're a Red employee, but you need to help us anchor this event. Or you know what? Let's do it together. And she was like, yeah, why not? So she said, but my skirt. I said, don't worry you.
So if you see that picture, that my skirt that is not here. So with torn skirts, I went in front of the public to go and moderate.
And it was good. Nobody knew. It was a fantastic.
It was really, really
I would
good.
think that Chude sent us like something, he sent us something after the event because it was fantastic.
It was.
It's been a long time. We'll be here for a while.
And that's a good story to really show you. And that's the work we do, right? Like a lot of things that happen in our work that you don't anticipate. So you can't come and say, Shola, please, I don't moderate. I don't do this. I don't do that. Sometimes you really just have to step in into the situation. So we thought that was a good way to start. So let's get into the questions. So Shola, how did you find yourself in this field of comms and PR? Has this always been what you wanted to do?
No, this hasn't always been what I wanted to do. I think I've told this story many times, but for the sake of the people here, I wanted to be a lawyer. I was in art class, and I'm the only one in art class in my house. And a typical Nigerian family, once you're in art class, the real thing to be in life then was to be a lawyer. So I chose law because I also have an uncle that is a lawyer. So at the time when I was going to apply to Obagbemi University, that year there was no law. So I think there was a ban on law students or something. So I could not get the admission to study law. I then saw my name, number 1, actually, for dramatic arts. Between you and I, I've never heard of dramatic arts before. I know there's theater arts in Unilag. So that means I didn't apply for that. My father clearly said, you are not going to be an actor. You are not going to Obagbemi University. You are going to sit at home for another 1 year. My mom then said, no, you're not going to sit at home for another year because you sat at home for 1 year before. You will go to school. And so when I went to school, I clearly knew, because I needed my father's consent is very important to me. So I needed to show him that I would do something that is not acting, but I will go for this. Luckily for me, when I got to school in my year 1, I found a book somewhere. I saw NIPR on it. And I began to read about it. What is NIPR? Then I saw that NIPR is Nigeria Institute of Public Relations. I was like, interesting. What is PR? I began to read about what PR is. And then I found that there are examinations I can do. There are 3 stages. If I do not have, any PR experience or communication experience, So I applied for that in my first year, second semester. So for me, after doing that first exam, I knew it was going to be PR for me. So it was crystal clear. If you know me in school, anybody that I went to school with knew from my year one that I was going to do communications. It has to be PR. And so I began to write the exams and I began to do internships when I was in school. I'll speak more to that. And that gave me more clarity. I love it because I'm like, you know what? A product wants to launch and then they need somebody to help tell the story to the right people. And then how are they going to tell it? That was the exciting thing for me, and which is why I also did my master's in public relations. So that's my story to PR. I did not want to be a PR person, but I found myself in it and I stuck to it.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting. So I think for me,
Yeah.
it was just again almost like you. I didn't even know there was anything like communications, PR. I know that I found myself in TFD's office, and TFD is Tara Fela Durotoye, for those of you not in Nigeria. And she's there asking me, what's your dream and goal and plans for your life? I'm like, ma, please, I don't have dream.
That's too deep.
I don't have vision. I don't have goal right now. I'm just trying to like figure myself out. But I said to her that one thing that I know how to do is that I know how to write. And then, she sent a message to Auntie Adesua. She runs TW Magazine, and then Chude of Red Media. And then they're like, oh, send me an article. I'm like, okay, sending you an article. And then, I get the interview and I start at Red Media. Honestly, I was an intern at wineniger.com. I really didn't know what I was doing. I remember the first week, my editor then, Tolu, I'm writing things and she's saying, no, it's not good enough. And Tolu was an absolutely fantastic editor because she would tell you things to read. But I wasn't so sure as to, okay, this is what I wanted to do. But I think for me, my mindset was, okay, I have found myself on this path. Let me see what I can make of it. And I was coming from home. So I studied in the UK, came back to Nigeria. There was this expectation that I would work in an oil company and all of that. And I'm saying I'm doing what exactly are you writing? So I needed to I don't want to say I needed to prove a point, but I needed to prove to myself that there's something here. But I didn't know, honestly, I didn't know what that something was. I just went in with the eagerness to learn. And I had fantastic colleagues. Shout out to Isime, Stanley, those ones that be like, please. Isime, you see Isime like this. Isime can write 50 stories for one day. Me, I would be like, hey, God, one story. I just need one story. So I knew that journalism, that writing stories was not for me. But thankfully, I was moved to the magazine department that even allowed me to be more creative.
Exactly.
And that was good. So yeah, that was my own journey.
Adedoyin was a fantastic writer. I used to, when you pray, like, God in my life, let me be able to write like this. We're in the same office, but she writes so well. When somebody writes a feature article in 2 hours, I'm like, how did you do it? I'm still there. I'm still there after 2 days. Yeah, and I think that's the power of the different, what's it called? The different fields that we have in communication.
Yes.
Because some people are just focused on they can write. Some people, that's their superpower. For me, give me events tomorrow morning. I literally did an event in my office, a huge event in my office, and planned it in 24 hours. So I can do events in my sleep. I can, media relations, all of that. Tell me to come and write a feature article. I'm there 24 hours, 48 hours. And so if you're a communication person here, you literally just need to find your superpowers. There's so many arms of PR. There's so many divisions in PR. You need to find the one that you are best at. Then the other ones, you know that you can either delegate, you can outsource, you can get people to do it, and then you finally review. But trying to do it all, I always look at it like, no, you can't do everything at once. What's your superpower? I know it's writing.
It's writing.
What's the one you struggle with?
So that's what I was going to say, that I'm the opposite of Shola. You see that event and you see media relations. Oh my God. Like events really stress me out. Like, because there's so many parts that are very unpredictable. And I do not like it. My writing, I sit down, I write. It's what I see is what I get. No surprises. But events will surprise you.
I agree.
So I don't do surprises. But going back to what Shola was saying is, learn what your superpower is. I find that at the beginning of your journey, the truth is that you don't have the liberty to say, excuse me, sir, I don't really like events. You got to do it.
Yeah.
I had to do events. Even though I didn't like it, I had to do media relations. But the higher you then go, you can then say, look, I want to focus on my superpower. This is what I'm good at. So now, for example, I'm doing more of strategy advisory. I love to teach. I'm teaching people, and she's able to niche down to what she's really great at and then outsource it. So that's also a very important thing to know.
Yeah.
But you said something about internship that I want us to go into, because I have professionals come to me to say, oh, I'm trying to get a foot in the door. I'm trying to learn this. They're not giving me the opportunity. How have you found internships to be valuable to your career?
So for me, I feel like internship is what shaped me. I'm big on internships, and even for my siblings, as long as you know me, I need to get you to do an internship in the place of your passion. So when I started out, I told you about this my year one. I clearly knew, nobody told me. I actually knew I needed to do internships in PR organizations. And before I left school, that's uni, for my 4 years, I did internships in 3 different places actually. So I did in Center Spread FCB, which was advertising. And I knew, no, advertising is not for me. It's too, they're too, I enjoyed it. I saw the account managers. I moved from one department to another, but I'm like, no, sorry. I'm going to my PR. I interned with Ken Egbaz. Ken Egbaz is the owner of True Contact Communication. He does Sarah Awards. That's the corporate CSR awards. I worked with him and I learned a lot. So because I went to Ife, there's always ASU strike. Once there's ASU strike like this, when everybody's complaining, what are we going to do? I'm sorry, Shola is already looking for internships. So I love internships because they helped me. Now, the internship that actually shaped my career was the last internship I did in my 3rd year. I interned with Trude. A friend of mine just told me, I know one guy, they are partners. One is Debola, one is Trude. They're actually looking for a communication assistant. And you always mention in school that this was in Ife. And you always mention in school that you love communications and PR. Do you want me to connect you? I said, yes, please connect me. And then they connected me, introduced me to Trude. I worked with Trude we were on strike for 3 weeks. I worked with him for 3 weeks. And after that 3 weeks, I worked as a communication assistant, but then I was an intern. He told me, after school, you have a job with me. Anytime you finish school, come back to me. I will recruit you. Of course, I told him, can you write this in an email?
So like documented.
Yes, he sent me an email and I had that documented. And that was it for me. Like that was the beginning of my career. So for me, when people say, oh, no, I don't have enough money. There was an internship I did, I think when I was in True Contact. My uncle was giving me salary. I was collecting money from home. But I needed to understand because I'm not doing PR in school. I'm doing dramatic art. And I was a good actress, by the way. But I just knew I wasn't going to be an actor. So if I want to do comms and I'm not learning comms in school, I need to be there to see how people are doing it in the industry. And that's why internships are very important. So for me, internships are not even only when you are starting out. I was already senior manager at Red Media at the time, but I went back to intern in a South African agency, Wagner Edstrom. I went to South Africa for a month. I was an intern. I was a senior person in Red Media, but I went back as an intern, learning the ropes in South Africa. And I was there for, I think, 6 weeks. And that's not only where I did internship. I did internship again in Ghana. When I finished my master's, before I came back to Nigeria, I applied to a place called Stratcom Africa. They were, at the time, if you're in Ghana, you know Stratcom Africa, the biggest agency. They had all the big accounts, MTN, etc. I went there for internship as well. I told them, just take me as an intern. This time I already had experience, but I wanted to learn the industry there. I wanted to see how all of this, so that when I come back, I'm like, you know what? My coins are higher, like pay me my money. But internships are always good. And I will still do internships again. If I ever want to do a sabbatical anywhere, I will go and intern in a place where it might not be an agency at this time because I don't want to go back to agency, but like anywhere where I can learn. Internships are always good. And don't forget that it's not only for the people who are starting out. You literally can take a break and go and intern in another bigger organization to understand how it's being done there, to see their client relations, to see their communication strategy, to see their comms templates, to see their comms plan and how they're executing. And then you can learn and add to whatever you know. And then, you always have an edge once you already know what you know because it's for you at the end of the day.
Amazing. Hello, Miss Bridget. Thank you for joining in.
Thank you all for joining.
See, this point that we're talking about lessons, I want us to also share the lessons that we learned from Red Media. Look, see, Red Media.
I was going to ask you that.
Red Media was tough. it was, let me tell you, I remember going to Miss World, it was tough. And there'll be times, and this was a time where, so now there's data everywhere on our phone. Then we're using those dongles that you have to pray, you have to baptize that dongle with the blood of Jesus for it to work at the cyber cafes. And you couldn't say because you didn't have internet access, that was why something was being done. There was something that Chude would always say, tails, excuses, tails. So you just knew that there was just no room for excuses. And what that has done to me, because I find that sometimes I'm working with my team and they're coming to me with a problem and I've said, okay, so what's the solution? What have you thought of? What that helped us to do was, before you even go and meet Chude, Debola, or any of you, are thinking, somebody, Shola, please, I have these issues. Help me. And it helps us to collaborate as well. I need to solve this problem because, I'm going to my boss now. I cannot tell him this. And then there are times that you've checked everything. There's no way out. You then go and say, look, this is the problem. These are the things that we've tried, so that they see that you've made an attempt. That was something that I really, really learned. And something about Red Media is, Red Media really stretched my capacity. Like, Chude just pushed, like he pushed us to excellence. So you think that I've given my very best, but you will push, and then you realize that what you then come up with at the end of the day was even more excellent than what you thought was your excellent work.
Huge shout out to Adebola and Chude.
Yes, huge shout out, because they pushed us to go further, to think. It was hard, though, guys. I mean, you've read my book. There was a time I was in tears. I cried. I was telling them in Ghana over the weekend that my editor at the time, so I had Tolu as the editor, and then my other editor, when you get back your scripts, you will still see red, like swimming in red. And then her feedback, right? It's not that she's even just correcting your grammar. She's like, what line of reasoning is this? So you're like, this thing that I did isn't making sense. I had to also learn how to take feedback well, because her feedback was brutal. Let me this age that we're talking about mental health, I think they will have tagged her as mental health infringer. But I had to learn that it wasn't me, it was the work. She just wanted the work to be at a certain standard. And if I didn't rise to that occasion, I could be bitter. I could be like, oh, why is she doing this? But I took that as a challenge that, okay, Adedoyin, right to a point where your work is not swimming in red. And I got there. But I'm saying that because sometimes we take feedback really hard. Your boss gives you feedback about your work. It's not about you as a person.
Not really.
It means that there's a standard that you haven't reached and you have to know how to get there. So I still celebrate that my editor, because she pushed me to be better. Yes, her feedback was brutal, but I learned, to be better. So let me allow Shola to share our own lessons.
I think appreciate your colleagues. No, not just colleagues. You need to appreciate the people you meet, not because of their status, but because of what you don't know will happen tomorrow. I'll give you an example. I was in an agency for 6 years, and so that means I was working with different clients. Today, some clients, because you don't know tomorrow, the fact that if anybody is here and you're starting your career in the agency and all of that, the fact that you're in the agency today does not mean you will not be the client that is running a multi-billion business in 2 years or in 3 years. Some clients were really kind, and some
they gave a prayer points.
But as a comms person here, right, what I would say to you is, you need to know your worth. So either you're on the client side or you're on the agency side, you need to always show up. And when you show up, you need to always constantly showing your value. So that's the reason why, because the people that I've met in Red Media, one of the major things that I took out of Red Media is the wealth of contacts. I feel like I can never be stranded. And I don't say that because I'm proud or anything, but I say that because I know people. And the reason why I know people, not because I work with Meta currently, because now your windows are even closed. Like a lot of people, you don't know why people are coming to you.
Right.
But when I was in Red, people just connected with you because they know that you have value, you want to give them value. So either from a client level or from a relationship or stakeholder level. So now that you have those contacts, what are you doing with them? I took those contacts and I do not joke. Anybody that knows me, first and foremost, you see my phone and I have close to 50,000 pictures. And you're wondering why. The most important thing to me is the backed up content, not so out of the contacts that I've made over the years. And when I left the agency, the only reason why when I got to Andela, And I began to, when it's the first time you're a client, you're like, okay, let me use all my arsenal.
Mm.
And they gave me all the tasks, like, do this, get this. I was like, oh, to get the governor,
Small stuff.
sorry, at the time, Oshibajo, the vice president, to come, I just made a call. I called Bayo Moboreo, I called Tolu Ogunlesi, and these are people I knew from Red Media Africa. So when they say, oh, we want to be on the front cover, I'm like, come on.
Small
I have
stuff.
this, so the people, I did not joke with my contacts. And that's what we have as PR people, as communications professionals. You meet people every day. Luckily, I worked with Debola and Chude, who those ones they'll give you Mohabud, who do you want to work with? Like, go and contact them and I kept all those contacts. Another thing I want to tell you is when you have access to those people, it's like I got the boldness to be able to then say I'm from. So when I started, is hi, my name is Shola. I'm calling from Adebola Williams. So I started with that. I'm calling from Adebola Williams. It got to a point I dropped Adebola Williams. I'm like, hi, Shola from Red Media. Like, you need to know me as me. And I feel like that also helped me when I got out of the agency, because now all our clients, then they're my friends. And the reason why I always tell people, treat people well. Like, as a comms person, treat people right. As a client or an agency person, treat people right. Because the thing is, I went on a trip recently, and one of our clients, we just a girls' trip for somebody's 40th. So that means a lot of us didn't know each other. Guess what? One of our brand managers, who was at Unilever at the time, she was on the trip with me. And I was telling myself, I said, it must have been so weird if you had a weirdo relationship.
Yeah.
But it was so good because I was like, you're so kind. It was good working with you at the time. So regardless of what level you are in life, regardless of where you find yourself, we all do not know tomorrow. So just treat people right. One of the major lessons that I also learned from Red Media Africa is that media, as our profession is comms, right? Media, people always say, I know it's not, when you say, oh, comms is not press release. Comms is not a press release. PR is not press release. But most of your work, because you always want to engage with external stakeholders, and you cannot go out ringing a bell and taking a microphone and telling everybody, we have this new product, we have this new service. You need media to help you amplify it. So your media relationships are very key. Do not, as a client, don't outsource all your media relationships to your agency. I can never do that. My agency has their contact. I have my contact. So I need to, because tomorrow morning, there are things that my agency can help me with, but there are things that I need them to call me directly to confirm before it goes on the front page. They're like, oh, there's an issue with your with Meta, or I don't know, whatever client you're working with. And then you need them to confirm directly. If they do not have that direct relationship with you, what if they call your agency and nobody picks up? So please own your media relationships for yourself. And then final lesson is that when you do the work, you're doing it for you. You're not doing it for your employer. You're not doing it for your manager. You're not doing it for your boss. I know that it's hard, especially I don't know what you're going through at the moment with your work, either from the agency side or from the client side. We had it a bit rough when we were at Red Media. It was tough. It felt like Chino wanted to kill us. Like, what is this? But then at the end of the day, I think the comfort is that everybody left Red Media Africa with the work that they did for. So nobody can take it from me.
Exactly.
I did it. I know it. I've done it for myself. So when they ask me tomorrow, I was the one that did the work. Yes, I was under a lot of pressure. I needed to deliver. There were KPIs, there were deliverables. And so no matter what you're going through, just do the work for you. Remember that at the end of the day, I'll be the one to write it on my CV. At the end of the day, I'll be the one to say, I did this. So even if it's just that, focus on the work. Don't worry about your manager. Don't worry about the CEO, whatever. They're stressing you. Leave it. Just do the work. When you do the work, it would stand for you. I can assure you, like, I am a living testimony of that. I took on those clients. It was tough. We had so many clients. I was leading this, the company needed to make money. We needed to get clients, etc. But regardless, the comfort is that everything I know, nobody can take it away from me because I'm doing it for myself. And so do it for yourself.
I love that.
Do it for yourself.
I love that. And it just speaks to excellence.
Yeah.
Because sometimes people ask me, oh, how can I develop my confidence? Like she said, see, there's nothing related to writing or com strategy that you want to give me. that I cannot do. There is literally nobody that I cannot walk up to, because first of all, I know my stuff. I know that I have value to deliver, and the work that I put out, I actually done it. Whether I cried through it or I rolled on the floor, but I have done it. So you have to invest that time in your personal growth and literally do that work. That excellence, it speaks for you, especially as it goes in your career. I remember during the Future Awards, because I used to be very behind the scene, and that's how I was running up and down, running up and down. And then somebody stopped me and said, "Oh, you're the person," because I used to just write on whyniger.com and do the magazine. And she was like, "Oh, I love this about the magazine." Da, da, da. And that was how I got her contact. She wanted to even offer me a job. In fact, when I left Red Media, the job opportunities I got, it was just like, please, I said, God, I'm not going back to this kind of life. You have to elevate me higher. But I had options. And when you know your stuff, you have options. And something else I want to add on is that you need to give yourself time. Because I see some people like, "Oh, Adedoyin, I like what you're doing." I'm 11 years in my career. Oh. If you knew us 2013, 2014, we were riding bus. Maybe you will not even be, we will not have been some of you's goals, because we were even trying to figure ourselves out. But we're at a point where we've done the work. We're still doing the work. She's going for a conference, next weekend to learn. We're always learning, always saying, "Oh, how can we improve ourselves? What can we do better?" Because it's all about you. You're the one delivering excellence. And then when you have that excellent work, you can then go to your bosses and your clients, and they will listen to you. You see, this whole thing about comms not being at the table, yes, we would advocate for it, but it also starts with you as a professional. I was telling them today at an event that I went for, that there was a client that I worked with for like 4 months. At the end of the 4 months, he was like, "Adedoyin, I want to hire you as my COO." I'm like, "Which one is COO?" But because he was talking business, it was even a law firm, but he could see that it wasn't just about my knowledge of communications. It was also about the intricacies of his business and getting his firm to be on an international level. So you need to be able to communicate on that kind of level, adding value. So add value to yourself, but also add value to your clients. But please, you really, really, really have to do the work. It's so important. Before we go on, I just want to remind everyone that please, if you have questions, you can put them in the chat. I see some comments. Boluwatito says, "Being bold, maintaining relationships." For the
See, I want
this
to add.
comment about the introverted.
I need to add to your comment and then answer this question. And because the thing is, if you, as comes people, I know that when we go to that event, people were telling us that I mean, that's the World PR Day event where they appreciated people in the comms industry, and they were saying that they're looking for the pictures and profile pictures and headshots of communications professionals. So as comms people, right? We are great at making our clients look good. We are great at making our not only clients now, our CEOs, the spokespeople. We get them ready, we prep them for interviews, we do all of these things. But for us, we don't pay attention to us. And I think that the time to pay attention to us is now. So for introverted people, and it's okay to be introverted, but the thing is, your voice must be heard. You cannot be in a room and be silent. And because what that silence does is that it removes you as the communication professional from the table. So when sales is saying, "These are my numbers," when marketing is saying, "This is the value I bring to the organization," you as a comms person, how is your voice heard? Why do they see you as valuable? Why would you not be the first person to be taken off when they're thinking about layoffs if they do not know your value? And even as a person in the agency, you need to be able to show your value to your clients, because then I've noticed that a lot of people just, "I'm introverted, like, let me just do the work, please. I'm writing the press release. After writing the press release, I'll submit the PR plan, and then that's it." No. It's like
emphasis on
even no. Even if you are introverted, and it's okay to be introverted, but I'm saying that you need to ensure that people know your value, because in this day and age, we need to be able to see your value in the room. And don't forget, there's so many people going through a lot across different organizations. A lot of people want to get people out. A lot of people just want, because we're trying to cut money. But you need to constantly show your own value, even to your clients, and especially for people who are just starting off in the agency. You need to be able to stand up, and I feel like that's the reason why a lot of my clients then respect me, because I think they're like, okay, maybe if Shola is not in the room, we need Shola to be there, and the reason is because I know my onion now. So yes, you are the client. I agree. You are the one paying us. So I will not disrespect you, but you need to value my own knowledge as well. And so you'll see them. I would never disrespect you, never. And they know me for that, which is why I still have my relationships with them. But I need to explain to you what I know. And so you need to see me as a partner so that when we're doing, know that I'm concerned about your brand and I'm doing a comms strategy that will help your brand move from point A to point B. So you need to respect me. And that's agency people. I'm telling you here, if you are here, you can't allow your clients to be talking to you anyhow. I get it that you want to keep that account. I get it that you want to ensure that we don't lose it, but you need to show your value so that they will see you as partners. The moment you're not, oh, the client will sit down here, you come and sit down here. I'm like, no, you don't do that. When they see you as partners, they'll call you for meetings. When they see you as partners, they're thinking about an idea. They call you in the middle of the night at 11 o'clock and like, you know what? What do you think about this? I have a lot of people in my agency that as I'm thinking about the idea, I'm calling them immediately. And that's because I see them as my partners, my thought partners, strategic partners. I don't see them as, oh, I go forward, then they come after. No. And that's exactly how clients, and if your client is not behaving like that, you be the one to call them to order.
I love it.
Yes.
And it really does start with you. And if I just go back to this question on being introverted, only the people that are very close to me know that I am actually introverted.
Yes.
Like,
Yes, I know.
when I go for events and conferences,
Another person.
and when I go back to their house, even my brother knows. Sometimes I'm like, so even the event we went for on Friday, it took a lot for me to come out and interact. But what I've learned is you cannot do this work without relationship.
Yes.
You must be able to speak out. And what I have done is to do it in such a way that is authentic to me. I remember the first WIMBIZ conference that I went for. At WIMBIZ, we talk about networking, bring business card. First of all, I even forgot my business card. I said, okay, networking, they are doing the prep. That's how I went to this very senior woman. Hello, my name is Adedoyin Jaiyesimi. What was my title? I didn't really have title. But the woman had this blank expression on her face. And then I finished. I was like, what next am I going to say now? They say we should network. And I just thought to myself, this is absolutely ridiculous. You're not connecting with this woman. And then what then happened is I then stood at the side. And then I saw another woman. People were going, you inspire me, da, 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 da. They will hand her business card. She would take the business card and give it to PA. PA would not put and say, this swimming trunk of business cards, what's going to happen when she gets to the card? They're just going to throw it away. So I said, you know what? I'm going to find something that is authentic to me. Because there's some people that are extroverted, they can mingle. That's not me. So what I started doing from conferences was I started just connecting with every and anybody. Because sometimes you just want to go and talk to the speaker. If I have nothing to say to the speaker, I'm sorry, I don't go. But I've realized that in talking to the person close to me, paying people compliments. I love to pay people compliments. I genuinely love to hear about people talking about their jobs. So if someone says to me, oh, I'm a clinical, I'm an astronaut, like, oh, really? Tell me about that. What that must be. And then when people find something that they will just be talking, I'm like, really? Oh, and then we will have had a long conversation of the person just talking. And you find connections, though. So don't feel like you have to connect with everybody. But the point is, the people that you connect with, how are you connected? Sometimes somebody is saying something and we realize that, oh, we like the same type of music, we like the same type of food. I've met people even outside of the conference, or maybe in the restroom, in the elevator. And then when you then get to meet the bigger people, you can then meet them. But this also thing about being introverted is when you are in a meeting and you have something to say, and I really shout out to my dad. My dad, you have something to say, you will speak up and you will speak out. So you must be able to speak up. You must. I mean, I've been at meetings where somebody is pressing my leg. We don't talk at the meeting. I thought, what do you mean you don't talk at the meeting? Is something wrong with you? They have one head, you have one head. Why will you not talk? And just by talking, just by asking questions, and shout out to Reverend Victor Adedoyin, because I worked with him after I came back from NYSC. I was at the time, the behind the scene, I want to work behind the scene kind of person. And Rev will come to my cubicle and say, Adedoyin, you are beyond this 4 square box. Like he used to really speak into me and into my life. And then there was a time, so I was the brand comms manager, managing his brand, which then meant that I had oversight over the 12 branches spread across different places in Nigeria and outside of Nigeria. And then one of the branches now invited me to come and give them talk on social media for evangelism. I said, excuse me, please, I don't speak. I literally told them I don't speak. And the Rev called me and Rev said, I don't understand. What do you mean you don't speak? Do you not know? Is this not the work that you do? I was like, yes, it's the work that I do. It's like, so is this not what you are going to teach them? I said, yeah, but Rev, I don't stand on the stage. It's like, you would learn it. So Rev then said to me, when you go on that stage, just look above people's heads.
Yeah.
Don't look at anybody's face and just say it. He made sure I went for that thing. Oh, I did it. It was fantastic. And then after
Nice.
that, Rev was always pushing me. But I realized that the more that I did it, the less fearful I became.
That's
the,
it.
the boom,
That's
boom,
it.
it reduced. And even now that, my recent or the last one that I did was at the Africa Public Relations Association. Trust me, I entered into the room. I thought that it was going to be like a small breakout thing. That's how I entered there. I saw the main stage. I said, is it this place that we are going to do it? But I have my tribe of friends, like, guys, please pray for me. I'm nervous. And they're like, you've got this, you can do that. So you have to push beyond being introverted. Being introverted should not stop you from speaking up. Being introverted should not stop you from showing the value that you have. And being introverted should not stop you from doing the work that you need to do.
And don't forget, you said some Bolo Atito, I know that we've been dwelling on this your point, but it's very important. You said that being bold it's not rocket science. So the thing is, and as she said, she's someone. Doyin is a very reserved person. If you know her, she doesn't really.
I know I don't look.
She's
Not.
not.
Those of you that follow.
It's very
They
reserved.
think I'm so out there.
Yeah, but you can be introverted, you can be reserved, but then you can also be that person that is in the room and they see the value of you being in the room. That's always very important, regardless of whatever room you are. Either you're in a client's forum or you're in a stakeholder forum, or they just need to see that value. Because what you're doing is you are helping us. Today is World PR Day. You are helping us spread the news about this, our profession, telling them that we are very important and we must be on that table when they are making decisions. And my final thing again is, and this is a request and a plea to comms professionals across different industries, the people on the client side now, not agency. People on the client side, please show your value in your organization. Let them know about this, our profession. Let them see the value so that they don't make decisions without us. Because at the end of the day, we are the ones that will come and clean the mess. So, and we need, some people are saying we need PR for PR. Like, we need PR for this profession. And the only way to do the PR is not to go to the newspapers, actually. It's to do the PR within your organization so that they see your value. So even if you are introverted, I beg you, just go ahead. Show your value in a way that, and your voice must be heard. You cannot stay silent. You can't. That's why you'll not be seeing that some people are, getting promoted every cycle. Some people are moving from.
Exactly.
You
and
cannot
you not
stay
be
silent.
silently beefing them. It's like these people that will say, oh, we have so many podcasters. They're saying, Robbie, like, you, excuse me, don't you have mic? Don't you have phone? Why are you not doing your own
Do you
podcast?
understand? So you need to just to ensure that your value is seen. And that's how people will know your worth, right? Because if you can't just sit there and then I'm looking at you and maybe I can't make a decision with the wig you're wearing or maybe your outfit.
Right.
And I'm not saying you shouldn't look good. Please always look good.
You have to look great.
You can't take it away from me. When I worked with Andela, everybody there, just wear face cap, wear round neck. I get it. You people are tech people. I'm sorry. I am not a tech person. I'm a comms person that works in the tech industry. So you will see, I've not changed. Yes, I work in, even if I go, they know me, even my colleagues. Nowhere. If you tell me that I'm going to New York tomorrow, I'm carrying my heels, I'm carrying my dress. It's like that's how I want to show up. So it depends on how you always want to show up, but we just need to show up. And when we show up, we need to show our value by speaking and ensuring that our voices are heard. So that at the end of the day, after that conversation with you, or after meeting with you, they're like, oh, okay, you said comms, right? Oh, yes, comms. PR, right? Yeah, PR. Oh, okay, that's noted. I need to share this with my own PR person or my agency or all of that. Please just be our ambassador. I beg you.
And this point that you said about how you show up and how you present, see, I know that the work is stressful, but you don't have to look bruised and battered.
No.
There was something that one of my colleagues in Red Media, Blessing, shout out to her, she's watching this.
Blessing.
Yeah, Blessing was, so we'll have events to go for. Now, again, within our salary, it
was small.
So we couldn't even afford taxi and we were working in Surulere. These events were mostly on the island. So one day, and then maybe the float money they used to give us, it wasn't a lot. And then I had to now do an event with Blessing. Blessing said, what's wrong with this one? We're going to bus from here to Obalende. Sorry for those that are not in Nigeria, but it's quite a long distance. So when we get to Obalende, we will go and freshen up in a restaurant. Then we will enter taxi and we will go. By the time we enter, so we will get to Obalende,
looking fresh.
Go and look for a restaurant, clean all the sweat, spray all the perfume, wear our heels, enter the taxi. So the taxi drops us at the client event, and we're there going. And I was just like, bless it.
And
Oh
that's
my
it.
God. But we always see there's a difference. The way you present
Yes.
yourself is so important. It can't
Yes.
say, oh, I'm comes and parent, and you don't look the part.
Yes.
You have to look good because again, I remember walking in front of a client, so coming to pitch, and he was like, "Who are you? Can I meet you?" I said, "Yes, I'm Adedoyin. I'm your consultant on this brief." And he's like a big man. But imagine if you go there, your scarf is here, your wig is there. Already they are making judgments about it, and we all do it. So don't even come and say, "Oh, it's the client." We all do it. You make judgments based on appearances. So you want to be that person that at least you show up, you look the part, and then when you speak, you back it up with your work, you back it up with the excellence and the things you deliver. So I thought to add that.
And I actually learned from the absolute best. You cannot work with Adebola Williams. I'm calling out his name.
Yeah, so you know that he did it for me. Now there was one meeting that we were going for. My very first meeting with him. He says, "Oh, we are going to this place." So me, I flat shoe. So I go to work with my flat shoe and my shoes. So I said, "Okay, my bully." I said, "Where are you going?" I said, "What is this the shoe you are wearing?" They didn't even need to tell me twice. I just went back and wore the correct shoe.
You can't, because you will not show up in that meeting. You won't. In fact, you can be calling him there. You're outside. Your appearance will not allow you enter.
You will not enter.
Because the thing is, and we understand that this, perception is, and I really learned that from him because I'm like, nah. If I would not be able to enter this room with Debola like this, then I will not. And that's why I told myself, I said, he knows, prepared. Shola meet me at this. We're having a client meeting. He knows that I will come and represent. Even if I know that my salary, it's not commensurate. I get it. But I learned to be able to show up even when we didn't really have the money per se at that time. Because I'm like, no, I'm not just going to look crappy to this event.
Yeah.
Because when I get there, they will not look at me.
Exactly.
They won't, even if I say I have an idea, they will only be looking at Debola.
They'll think that you're there to carry his briefcase
and to write the notes.
Taking notes.
And I didn't want that for myself because I'm like, no, I want people to know me for Shola for my own value, not because I just work with Debola. So I get it out. It gives me the opportunity to be able to enter the room, but I want you to remember me and call back and say, oh, that girl you brought. So that was why it was comfortable enough to be able to now say, Shola, go for that meeting on my behalf. Because you cannot, you people know him. I'm calling his name in case he sees this video. You have to dress well. You have to smell good.
You have to smell well too.
You cannot just be looking crappy. So I know that sometimes, then you can take the bus. We
used to plan it. Like,
but when you are close, maybe the meeting is taxi. Then when you enter, you cannot put down you write your claim and then claim your float. But at least you know that you're not looking there, you're not sweating, you're not doing all of this.
Nigerian song like this that can just
please as comes people, you can't just say no, please. I'm focused. I had an event yesterday. I'm too tired. Let me just wear these slippers. Please. Is it no? Show up and show up well.
And let me give you a hack. So there was a point in my journey where I was ordering clothes from Junior. There was one event that I went for. If you see the compliments on that dress was not up to 5K. I was like, wow, So again, let's leave that. Let's go low moments and challenges. Because again, sometimes people, because they don't see the backstory, they don't see, and there's no way you can put out your entire, I don't put out my entire life on social media. Yes, I do share a lot, but I don't share everything. There are low moments. There are times where you feel like, this thing, even as confident as you are, you have moments of doubt. So I wanted to just ask you to speak to, maybe share an example of a low moment or a challenge, and how do you tackle challenges when they arise?
I think a deep one. I think one to share at the workplace, because we're professional here, is between us, is when I resumed my current job. I feel like I resumed this current job with my shoulders high. Say, what's there?
I know this.
I've been on the agency side. I've handled these accounts before. Come on. I know I've been in this industry for a while. It humbled me. I did not imagine that it would be that special. And so I didn't give it the right preparation that I should have. Because on a normal day, when you want to, I remember when I'm going to mention the job before this one, when I was going to resume with Andela. I went with all as in, I was so prepared, in Andela. After 6 months, I was promoted to lead the team in Africa from being a communication manager. So I was like, come on now, I'm a performer. I was humbled. in my first in the I think when all the time I was with Debola and Chude, for every performance review, that's every 6 months, I was either promoted or getting a bonus or something, in Andela too. So I went. It was my first time of getting a. I can't even talk about my score,
Let's leave this
and that was
out.
because it was such a low moment in my life. I had
Mm.
to step when you say step down, I
Right.
stepped down from public because I self-evaluate a lot. So I'm like, no, if I don't have it, I can't be outside. So you'd see me first and foremost, I was private on my page. Nobody could reach me. If you reach out to me for speaking engagement, I'm like, me.
Speak.
Nope. So I turned down speaking engagement.
Hmm.
I turned down public appearances. I turned down everything and I went back to the drawing board.
Hmm.
I went back to the drawing board to reading and